Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week, and halfway through we stop for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars, answering your questions. We spun it off and we're up to number 51.
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, I put a post out asking for your questions. Once we gather all the questions, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
I ordered the Grand Highlander Limited, regular hybrid, silver color, but I changed my mind and wanted to take the Platinum Hybrid Max. However, silver exterior is not available in Canada. Do you know if there's any way I can get it? No, you cannot get it. Unfortunately, the Hybrid Max powertrain in Canada doesn't come in silver, but it does in the U.S. What are you going to do?
You got to be happy with your choice. Listen, we got this car, and it wasn't our color choice.
No.
Because we had to get this particular, it's a big story, but we bought the car, not the color. And I think in your case, buy the car, not the color. Just live with it and be happy.
I love your channel. Thank you. Just wondering, I have a 2013 BMW X5 diesel and considering upgrading, but will only get another diesel. Should I stick to the newer model X5 in diesel? The other options I think about are Range Rover, Cayenne, Jaguar, or Mercedes, all with the diesel powertrain. So you're obviously not in North America because...
Well, no, I think what they're saying is that they want a newer than 2013.
Oh, I see. You're not thinking brand new.
No, because they're no longer available.
Europe.
The only way, and Europe.
That's
they
what
are
I was
sold
thinking.
in Europe.
Yeah.
But if you're in North America and you're wanting a newer diesel, you're not going to get it in anything past 2016. That was the last year that diesels were sold by, no, wait a second.
BMW continued.
And then Land Rover for another several years, I think until like just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So if you're in Europe, all of these are still available. In North America, 2016, some a couple of years after that.
Yeah.
Okay, which one would we bet?
Which one would we get? What would you get?
I'd get a Cayenne. We're sitting in it.
I would either get the Cayenne or I would get the X5. You're obviously happy with your X5. You have a 2013 model. I think that the X5 diesel as well as the Cayenne diesel are both terrific.
It's got the most power. The engine's amazing. It's really good.
What do you think of Canada banning the sale of new fossil fuel powered cars by 2035? Okay, so I think I'll start.
Okay, because
Zach is going to have a lot to say about that.
And it's just like we talked about this recently in one of the questions, and people went off on me. I'm like, I'm a hater and all this. It's like, so you go first.
He's not a hater of electric vehicles. I just want to point that out. He has no problem with electric vehicles. Manufacturers are already saying that this is really aggressive for them because of the cost of electric vehicles. Now, will electric vehicles come down in price as time goes on? Possibly. The government of Canada wants pure electric vehicles or emissions-free vehicles to be at the 20% mark in 2026, 2030, 60%, and 2035, 100%. First off, for those who have seen our recent video on battery replacement costs, Zach and I were talking that every time we review an electric vehicle now, I want to know what the battery replacement cost is. I want to know, can this battery be repaired or does it have to be replaced? There are so many questions. I get it. It's new technology. We have so much to learn moving forward. In 2023, I should let Zach talk. I'm taking over now.
No,
go ahead.
I just want to do a counterpoint to that.
Yes, do it.
And we can ask all we want when we go on these car launches. What's the battery replacement cost? I don't think they're going to tell us, Andrea. And this is a big question mark that we've now put over the industry with our latest videos. Is that one of the things is, even if the Hyundai Ioniq 5 that we talked about with $60,000 to replace the battery, even if they dropped the price of the battery pack down to $30,000.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine because it's a one-year-old car.
Yes.
It's still worth repairing.
Yes.
But when the car's 5 years old, they will not be worth repairing. So these are going to be disposable products, and I have an issue with that.
Well, I also want to add, you're talking about the battery replacement. of 30,000. Then you've got to add labor. You've got to add parts to that. I mean, we don't know what sort of damage is done to the vehicle. We're just talking about the impacted battery. So if you, with all of that, over $40,000, and we're just using the Ioniq 5 as an example, the rear-wheel drive model is under $55,000 Canadian. Is it going to be repaired? I don't know. $15,000, it depends on the cost of the vehicle.
But that's what I'm saying. Right now, it's worth it if it was cheaper, the battery pack. But when the car's 5 years old, and in 5-year-old cars down around 35% of its original value, these will not be worth fixing. So that's my issue, is that there's a lot of question marks. Look, we are steaming towards electrification.
Totally.
The government has said they want to be full electric by 2035. Personally, I don't think we're going to be able to do that in basically 11 years. It's 2024 in a week. We're not going to be able to do that. I think we're going to have a lot of resistance by a certain percentage of the population that just doesn't want the government telling them what they can drive, and they don't want they can't work an EV into their life. Like, say you live in a condo in a downtown area, and you got nowhere to plug a full EV in. What are you going to do?
Or say you live in a rural area and you don't have a DC fast charger nearby and you are traveling great distances. I mean, there's just so much that needs to be done in 11 years. And I also want to add that emissions targets set by Canada have never been met. Like each one that they set, they haven't met those goals. So these are obviously very aggressive targets.
Well, we've already seen in some jurisdictions walking some of this back. First of all, they have made a carve out in the European Union for internal combustion engines if they run on a synthetic fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Porsche is working on. Toyota's working on that as well for a synthetic internal combustion fuel. That would be great. So they're hoping they can do that for the fun cars like a 911, or if you go to the track and you want to drive a car on the track, you could still get fuel for it. But Britain has rolled back their EV targets to meet ours in Canada at 2035, but the public still has a great deal of say in all of this. The governments are our servants. We elect them, and if this becomes totally punitive on people and cost prohibitive, the people will rebel against it.
Yep. They will. I just think we need more information moving forward. I want to make it clear we are not against electric vehicles. They are coming. They are here to stay. We know that. But we also need more information. We ran those stories to initiate change, and we see that already with Hyundai. They're putting new processes in place. Every battery-related issue will be dealt with at head office. These are good changes, but that's what we need. If Zach and I don't talk about this and we don't push forward for consumers to help them better understand what they are liable for. A few people have even said to us about the Ioniq 5 video that we put out, well, who doesn't know that if you get into an accident and it's your fault and the battery is impacted, that the warranty of 8 years or 160,000 kilometers doesn't cover that? Guess what? People don't know that.
No.
Now they do.
Yeah. Well, some do.
Some do. The ones who watch do.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. My wife's 2024 Crosstrek has the auto start-stop feature, which means that the engine shuts off at stoplights and restarts when you take your foot off the brake. I like the idea of saving gas and emissions, but do you think that this might be hard on the engine and the starter to be restarting so often? Well, I think this is a good point. You would think that, wouldn't you?
All you can do is look at hybrid cars, like the Toyota hybrid system, and that engine is switching on and off all the time. Different sort of setup, but still you get the idea. And hybrids have proven to be the most reliable cars in the market. Study after study shows they're the most reliable.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about this being hard. You know, I don't think the engine switches off until it's warmed up. So it's not a cold engine that's starting and stopping, it's a warm engine. I wouldn't even worry about it. On the screen there in your Subaru, there's a little button you can turn it off.
If you choose to, sure. I looked this up a little more research. A spokesperson from Federal Mogul, which is an American developer and supplier for automotive, says a normal car without auto start-stop will see about 50,000 start-stop cycles in a lifetime, and one with it 500,000 cycles. So obviously you would think to yourself that there would be more wear and tear on the vehicle.
Well, more wear and tear on the starter motor, but you would hope, I don't know, you would hope they put a more robust starter motor in.
Well, this is it. This is what this company says, is that there is better technology, improved batteries, improved materials, improved components, that this really is not an issue, and that there are a lot of benefits to start-stop technology.
It can be annoying. When you're in like stop and go traffic, like on the highway, and you stop and you start, that's when you want to switch it off, because it just becomes, here it goes again.
Yeah, and I think some manufacturers do a better job with it than others. It's a little bit more
Just
seamless.
looking at this, where's ours? It is here somewhere. I don't use it very much in this
No,
car.
we
It does
don't
have auto
usually
start
use
stop,
it.
but you can switch it off.
Will Hyundai Canada let you review their cars again? You did a really good job of exposing the issues of the high cost of battery replacement that Hyundais face. For me, it's knowing you will eventually have to replace the battery in an EV that scares me away from ever wanting to own one.
Okay, so you don't have to change the battery in a vehicle. It should last quite a long time. If there's damage to the battery, that's an issue. But for a lot of people who are going to buy an electric vehicle, they're going to drive it for many, many years, and the battery should hold up just fine. This is a special situation.
Well, if you impact the battery because you drive over something or you get in an accident, then that's a different story. But when it comes to battery degradation, you have an 8-year or 160 kilometer warranty on that vehicle.
160,000.
Oh, sorry, 160.
It's good till this afternoon.
Yeah, so 160,000 kilometer battery warranty.
Drive home.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
I'll take the 8-year.
I could imagine.
Please. So these are different circumstances that you may deal with. In 2013, the Model S had problems with the battery protection plate under the vehicle not protecting the battery. And so Tesla dealt with that. Now they have titanium plates underneath all of their EVs.
I can see the future, hon. I would almost bet that Hyundai is going to do something similar to that.
Well, I think all manufacturers should look at Tesla. That was in 2013.
That's 10 years
That's
ago.
a long time ago.
Almost 11 years ago.
As they are producing these new vehicles, why not add that protection plate just like Tesla did? Are we going to get another Hyundai to review? Well, what I can tell you is that we have promoted Hyundais like you wouldn't believe. We love the Tucson hybrid and plug-in hybrid. We think that Hyundai does a really good job with their vehicles. They know that we have given many positive reviews, but we felt that this was an important issue to address. When you have two viewers who come forward, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast, with battery replacement issues in their vehicles being written off, this is important to talk about.
Okay, so there's two layers to this. So our interaction with Hyundai Canada is at the local level. There's a fleet of cars here that we have access to drive. We actually have one booked, Andrea. For in a few weeks, we have the new Elantra.
We do.
With the new front fascia. Well, here's a picture of it now.
We are getting it.
And so that has already been booked. They haven't told us, no, that's canceled. I think the regular press fleet we'll have access to, I don't think they're that stupid. What they might do is pump the brakes on inviting us to an event. For example, we still haven't driven the Santa Fe. Others have. Others have seen. We've seen it at the LA Auto Show. So they're going to have an event around Santa Fe. I think it would be in their best interest to invite us. As they say, is that old saying, keep your enemies closer? It's not that we're enemies, but I mean, they would be smart to bring us in and talk to us and explain what they're doing. I think a Hyundai brilliant move would be to take us to the production facility and show us how they make the batteries.
Would love to see that.
We could do a video on that, and we'd love for them to show us maybe some changes they're making to that. We can videotape all that. We'd be totally open to that.
Absolutely.
So I think if Hyundai was smart, they would work with us to explain to the public what's happening, where we are, where we're going, and how they're planning on addressing this.
And we will continue to always be fair with any manufacturer and any new vehicle that we review. For those who watch our channel all the time, you know that we are very honest. What we do
This proves we're honest. I mean, some could say we're biting the hand that feeds us. We can't get access to these cars if the company doesn't give it to us. Look at Tesla; they don't give us cars.
No.
So we're brutally honest. We're brutally honest.
We're brutally honest, and we will continue to be. We are a consumer-driven channel. We want to help our viewers buy new vehicles. We want to give them the right tools to make the right choice for them. And we'll continue to push forward with that. We're not changing the way that we review cars. My mother has a grandchild here and a grandchild on the way. What car should I consider getting her? Preferably mid-size SUV. So many to choose from.
Yeah, there's lots to choose from. It depends whether you want a 3-row SUV or you just want a 2-row SUV. Sounds like a 3-row.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of great choices. I don't know. If you saw our top 10 of the year, our number one pick was the Toyota Grand Highlander.
Yeah. So there's lots of options in this category, whether you need a 3-row SUV, non-luxury, luxury, Highlander. If you find that the Grand Highlander is too large, you've got the Palisade, the Telluride, the Acura MDX, the list goes on and on. If you are looking for a spacious vehicle without a 3rd row, they do fall in the compact class, Hyundai Tucson, Kia Sportage. What else is there?
There's
Lenza.
lots. There's
what
so
about,
many.
Yeah.
The Tiguan is big. There's lots of space. And
Honda CR-V.
There's 2 that are in the, you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. If you want a 3rd row but you don't want a mid-size, you can get the Outlander, the Mitsubishi Outlander. Or you could get the Tiguan, and for a little bit extra you can get a little jump seat, the 3rd row in the back, for an extra kid if you need to. So that's an option.
Another one I'll throw in the Kia Sorento. How's your mom's plug-in hybrid Tucson? Well,
it's great. Thank you for asking.
So, of course, when our videos went out on battery replacement, my mom was alarmed.
She didn't freak out. She just goes, "What?"
And so she asked me about her battery in her vehicle. Well, her battery is protected. It's a plug-in hybrid, and it sits within the vehicle. It's not like a pure EV. I explained to her that the battery sits underneath the vehicle from the front to the rear. How has her experience been with the Tucson plug-in hybrid? She absolutely loves it. She is a huge fan of that vehicle. She will tell everybody to get it. She has had absolutely no issues, and she keeps saving money because she's not buying a lot of gas.
Yeah. So hybrids, plug-in hybrids, the batteries are inside the cabin of the car, typically under the rear seat or the rear floor of the cargo area. They're not exposed outside the car.
No. What do you guys think of all these hybrid cars being made, but the manufacturers can't make repairs or replacement of hybrid or electric batteries affordable?
Well, no, the hybrids are repairable.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing that.
No. And plug-in hybrids.
And plug-in hybrids, yeah, they can be. But it comes back to that question we talked about earlier. When the overall car depreciates to a certain point, is it worth it? But the thing is, if you had a regular internal combustion car and the engine blows up, and you're going to have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to put a rebuilt or new engine in the car. Same with the transmission, depending on how fancy the transmission is, it can be thousands and thousands of dollars. So if you needed to put a battery in a Prius, for example, it's not going to be inexpensive, but it's going to be, not crazy.
I also believe that as time goes on, this is all new, electrification is new, that there are going to be EV technicians that are able to repair these batteries. But I also question, how long does it take to get parts for these? There is another viewer in Canada. He has a 2017 Leaf. His battery is covered under warranty. He's had some issues with it. He's waited a whole year.
Still waiting.
Nissan Canada has come forward saying, look, we understand you're driving a gas vehicle. We'll pay for the fuel. So they're trying to work with him, but they just don't have the battery available.
What happened is he's got a 2017 Leaf. Think about that. That's a 6-year-old car. That isn't old.
No.
The average age of a car in North America is around 10, 11 years old. So a 6-year-old car is still fairly new.
Yeah.
They changed the battery composition and when they updated the Leaf. And he's got the older composition. So you need to be able to find that battery for him. and they don't have one.
No.
So the problem is, are they going to be able to make batteries? Like, say they're making a new batch for latest generation, will they continue to supply the old one? These are big questions.
I know,
These are the
and-
questions we're bringing up.
And I have to say, I'm even more confused now than ever before with electric vehicles. So we just have to keep asking the questions and try to provide answers for you.
I am not anti-EV. What
He's
I am
not.
is I am not based in an ideology. I'm based in reality. And the reality is there are a lot of questions around EVs for a lot of people. For some people, they have them, they love them, and they're major trumpeters of the technology. And I get that. But for some people, it doesn't work for them. They're resistant. They don't want, and you know what? That's all part of human nature.
Absolutely.
So I'm based in reality, and we reflect what the customers are saying to us.
And we'd love to hear from you. Type below, let us know. Are you wanting to buy an EV now? Do you have an EV? Do you love the EV experience? We're totally open to all the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, I put a post out with Zach and I holding coffees, asking for questions. Get them in. It's only up for a short time. Once we pick our questions, we start the show.
And we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.